Introducing.
Oh God, why is so?
But just say your
Alright,
name.
cool,
Just
cool.
say your name.
Adali Basin, Brendan
And
O'Brien's
See,
partner.
Yeah.
okay, they will be on
Both
the
arguing in it.
for Israel. That's excellent.
yeah.
Okay, and now we start back with
Well, that's a part of life.
Andrew. Just say one.
And you get points
Yeah.
on Maxi.
Okay, well, it's rolling so.
Well, the reason why Palestine didn't want to divide the cake was because the cake would belong to Palestine for 1,000 years. Nobody from the outside has the right to tell Palestine how to divide the cake, who to divide the cake to. And violence didn't start in 1947. It started at the end of the Balfour Declaration in 1917. Thomas Herzl frequented trips to Palestine and back to the British government, trying to get the mandate to secure Palestine as a home for the Jewish people. Um, as soon as Jewish immigrants started streaming into Palestine, lynch mobs started attacking Palestinian people, and some Jewish extremists took it far as to attack the British troops as well, and a three-way fight broke out between the British, the Palestinians, and the Jews. There are Jews living in Israel who has been able to trace their ancestry back to 2,000 years, and they would tell you under Palestinian rule, the Muslims were quite tolerant of the Jews living there. Violence, as I said before, only broke out when Jewish lynch mobs from Jewish immigrants began attacking Palestinian civilians and British soldiers as well. Um, that's
Real history.
cool. Yeah. Watch by Andrew. Yeah. You're bad, boy. Yeah.
He bad.
Good. Listen, Brendan made a statement about cause. I'll illustrate why cause is relevant. Brendan,
Brandon.
look at me.
Look
I
at
got
me.
coffee on your face now, right? A coffee on your face. And for no reason. Wouldn't you say I'd be oppressive in that circumstance?
Right?
Yes, I'd be being oppressive.
Okay.
But if you were trying to rape, let me say, Mikkel, and I coffee
Why
on your face.
Michael Adali is right here?
Mikkel or Dali,
Mikkel, I
if
can't
you were
do
trying to rape somebody and I'll cuff you in your face, would that be oppression? Obviously not. Because you engaging in an oppressive situation and I am just trying to bring justice. I am trying to bring balance. I am trying to bring justice. That is my cause. The fight for justice is never an oppressive battle. The fight for justice is one in which, yes, there will be violence, yes, there will be struggles, but the cause, once the cause is just, the means is justified also. Once the cause is just, I could cuff you on your face, and it will not be considered oppression because you're raping somebody, you're doing something inherently unjust. So that brings us to the issue, we must evaluate the cause. Why consequent to Israel becoming a state, all these things followed. You know, we can look at it from your angle and say, now you forget the cause, and you will see Palestine jabbing at Israel and not understand why. But to understand why, you must understand the cause, and that is why it is I went to the cause in the first place. And the cause is Israel never sought consensus among the inhabitants to occupy that very same land. Andrew mentioned it. The Arabs never wanted Israel there, and the UN cannot draft any kind of document, any kind of agreement about how much they should give Israel without the Arabs consenting it, because it's not the UN own, it's the Arabs own. If it is, let me describe it as a house, as a home, and you and your brethrens, now Brandon and his brethrens, they decide they want my home, and I am sitting down in the meeting. I'm sitting down in the meeting with the home and whatnot. And all of you all come up to a nice agreement as to how my home should be divided. But I say no. No, I don't want you in my house. And thing. The point is, unless I consent, you do not belong there. As much friends as you have, as much authority as you have, as much power as you have. And the Jews did have friends, mind you. As I told you, Coca-Cola is founded by Jews. Albert Einstein is a Jew. There's a book called The Jewish Phenomenon which explains how powerful the Jews are. It's natural that the UN would side with any wealthy, any powerful interest group because it has benefits for them. It obviously has not had benefits for the Arabic people, as we could see, because right now there is starvation in terms of the Arabs not having enough water to irrigate their crops, people dying as the wells dry up, as the watershed is broken, to feed the Israel demand, for the American and the consumerist lifestyle, which includes eating 3 meals a day with cereal and these big fruits, although they're in the desert. And that's why right now, if it is you want to evaluate an irrigation system that works, you can look at the Israeli irrigation system, because they have managed to do something in the desert. They have managed to get water in the desert and irrigate the crops till they have a successful agricultural industry. That is a boost. If you Google search irrigation systems, that's one of the things that will come up about successful irrigation systems. But they are taking water that belongs to the Palestinians, that have been used by the Palestinians, and also the Palestinians have a larger population than Israel. Therefore, it would be natural if we were to do it based on individual to individual, every man being created equal, that they allocate more water and however they do the irrigation system to Palestine, so that they could feed their population, which is considerably larger, so that they could irrigate their crops and that they could have the water and whatnot. But they have not done that. They live exorbitantly. They come across into Palestine and they continue their lifestyle, and they expect that these Palestinians must humble themselves, eat some humble pie, shut up, and just say nothing. Samson in the Bible was a terrorist. Samson was a terrorist because the Jewish people were in a land and they were being oppressed. And Samson used every means possible to attack and to get justice in a system where the Jews were the underhand. Now we have a situation, a contemporary situation, where the same is taking place. This time, the Jews are the oppressors, and the Palestinian versions of Samson are being, looked at as villains. It is blatant disrespect. It is sad morally. It is a poor reflection of how the Jewish people look and view their doctrines, and it is a overall reflection as to what it is the real doctrine of the Jewish people right now and the American nation, which is might is right, and they can do exactly what they want, whenever they want, however they want, and nobody has the authority. They could have nuclear policies on who has nuclear arms. They write the policies, and no one else apart from those policies should have nuclear arms, so they can invade Iraq and look for weapons of mass destruction and whatnot. And right now Israel has undeclared nuclear warheads, while Iran is being scrutinized and hated on for even attempting to have a nuclear research program. Explain that in your concept of oppression, because that seems oppressive to me. From what it has been embedded in me about oppression, that to me is an oppressive situation, and the situation is clear in which Israel are coming across as the oppressors. And back to Angelo's point, just to finish it, the supposed to be shared issue. You mentioned supposed to be shared. There's no supposed to be shared there. The land never belonged to them. The Arab never consented to them, and any agreement after that to make Israel look like they're doing the others a favor is not really doing anybody any favor. The only favor Israel could do right now is to leave that land and go back in America, where there's a lot of areas where they could live in peace. America thrives off immigration, people coming into their land, so they can go right back there and leave these people, leave these Muslims and these Arabs and these people in the third world people to squabble in peace. Squabble in peace, that's an oxymoron, but to occupy that region all by themselves. That's the end.
Yeah.
Okay.